In my opinion, in the 20th century, between 1980 and 2000, China's development strategies focused heavily on economic growth and not at all at social and environmental impacts in the long run. So it's really hard at that time to estimate the long-term consequences, the long-term impacts, which only became visible in the 21st century. Taking as an example the one-child policy, where initially it was an idea to reduce population growth and a strong development strategy, but in the end, now seeing in the 21st century that it actually has demographic issues being present.
Yeah, definitely. I also think that a lot of what happened in the 20th century affected and is shown and documented in the 21st century. Maybe I don't believe that a capitalist model can be ever sustainable because the power of money, of the military power, the economic power, and the technology power that they also need to support the military power and the independence of other nations, it's rely on non-human and human resources, and we know non-human resources are limited in the world, are limited, and human resources, like their own people, their own workers, they're being exploited for a long time. There are a lot of movement, there are a lot of strikes, but I believe that at some point in the future this is going to explode. Maybe not because of the natural resources are going to be over, but maybe because of the social movements.
I agree that the development strategies that the Chinese government has adopted throughout the decades has generated many social, cultural, economical, and environmental impacts. But I believe that hopefully we have these examples of alternatives, and they mostly come from civil society movements. So we have cases that are more known nationwide and even internationally, like the case of Friends of Nature. But we also have those movements that are less known, but they are more focused on local communities. And I really think that regardless of the size of the project, of the Transformative Initiative, I think it has the power to somehow influence the community and even influence in the long term over the next years or decades policy making.
Well, if you ask me, I don't think China's development policy is going to be sufficient in the long time run, because even though it has a rapid economic growth, it still faces some inside challenges such as the social inequality, the governance structures, and the reliance on coal and the marginalization of migrant workers, which are supposed to poses some great risk. And as well, the governance issues, which is the centralization power and also the local tenancy systems. So yeah, it's not going to be sufficient in the long time run.
In my opinion, China's development strategies are unique strategies that cannot be easily replicated by other countries. One reason being that it's very difficult to fit China's development strategies neatly in the theories that we learned about dependency on neoliberalism, and also China's development strategies stand out to initial conditions that are unique for China.
Yes, especially in the way that in the 21st century, something really big that happened to China was incorporated into the World Trade Organization that changed a lot of things, and nations, neoliberalist nations, saw that in that way China's Communist Party is going to end, but it was a totally different story. The Communist Party was even more, had more power, neoliberalization part of the country, and also there were a lot of the other, not reforms, but policies that allow exploitation and all of these other negative aspects to their own people. So I believe that this is a unique history that happens from even the times of Mao, and all the reforms that were very specifically for this country, but also the aspect of geography and the demography of the country takes an important role in how this country was developed in an hegemonic way.
I agree that China's development model is unique, especially due to the country's historical circumstances. But I think maybe the question is not if this model can be replicable, because in terms of sustainable development, it shouldn't be replicated as it is. I think the question might be, how could we improve this model so that it could become more sustainable, and so it could be at least partially replicated in other countries?
I would say the full replication of the model is very unlikely, because it requires alignment with China's political structure, the governance style, which might not be feasible in other countries. And as I think with sustainability is not a one-size-fits-all solution. What works in a certain part of the world might not work in another part of the world. So it's important to respect and also adapt to a very local context, especially in the case of China.
So in the 20th century, China focused to improve the livelihoods and reduce poverty with economic growth, but it raises a very important question if truly sustainable impact and positive transformation can be done by economic growth only.
Well, I so much agree with that. I think there's no denying about the significance of government intervention in the environmental issues, but at the same time, I feel like they need to combine all the measures. They need to guarantee the environmental preservation and as well as the social injustices in the country.
In the case, I think that this example of China is a rich critique about left or wing positions, especially when I'm going to read it because I think it's really important. I don't want to let anymore. The question is not whether the state intervenes in a market or not, but rather how a model provides the necessary conditions to build a unified left. And we already know that even though they have a left wing in government, they're not with the unified left. When we speak on the left and right, if they join hands in the neoliberalization of people, would it be more useful to differentiate neoliberal intentions from those that are not? So I believe that a lot of the movements that you share also in your video are creative movements, creative solutions, alternative solutions that were born from the local, because there's an intimacy in the local. And this bond, I believe, it's the most important thing in the struggle of Chinese anti-imperialist and anti-nationalist movement.
I really like your comment about creating bonds between people because I think this is really important and this is what we see, and I think one of the main lessons that we can take from this research, from this assignment, is that no matter how small a movement can be, it always has the power of making a change. So we can even make a comparison to Confucianism principles. For example, Confucianism has the logic of self-cultivation, which means you have to know your duties, your principles, so you can contribute to changing society and achieving a collective harmony with other human beings and nature. So I think no matter how small it is, we should start small, start local, and with that connection, we have the power to build transformative initiatives that will bring more sustainability to the community.